Get the all right. And man, I'm turning my damn ringer off, dude. Because it is midday, so cars are buzzing around the country right now, and they will be hitting your man up. So we'll go
Yep.
on silent, man. So we can start in three, two, one. What's up, y'all? It's your main man, Jay Sands on sports, hip hop, and sports entertainment at its finest. That's right, y'all. The big kid is at it again. Season 8, and this is episode 146. 146. And as I always say, the first hip hop sports podcast started in 2007 with my brother Grap Lover, the youngest soul brother from Money Earning Mount Vernon. First episode with Master Ace. My man RBI was the engineer. And look where we're at. 2026 still in the mix. And it's great, man. Today is like I'm in Baltimore, but I'm cool with it because everybody in Pittsburgh, like I said last episode, is going nuts. So it's like today is draft day in Pittsburgh, and wow, man, like I told my dude, man, this is like Halley's Comet. Like there will never ever be another draft in Pittsburgh. So it's definitely a historic day. We're excited for it. We're going to get into it. Matter of fact, I got another co-host with the co-most on the East Coast holding it down. I want to say this gentleman was at the beginning stages of me doing this podcast stuff. Wasn't even called a podcast. It was called, just pull up at XM, try to get on the show with Dave. Just trying to figure out. I remember. One thing it was my father-in-law or something. He asked like, what is it called you're doing? You're just doing this stuff. What is it called? And there wasn't a name for it, but yeah, Ari was there and he saw the early Sands on Sports, and he's been on the new wave of Sands on Sports, and we talked about how the vision for Sands on Sports, I want to have certain guests in rotation that bring their topics. Once I get the big prize bet, because I got to pay these men. I did. They're gonna need payment from me to do this type of commitment. But that's my vision, to have these certain gentlemen just in rotation constantly, giving their opinions maybe once a month or whatever. And this is one of them guys. My man Ari B. Ari, how you doing, man?
Good. What's up, man? How you been, Jay Sands?
Man,
It's been a minute, man. It's been a minute since I've been on your platform, but I appreciate you having me as always.
yeah. Well, your
We go
grandfather
back.
there.
We go back. We go
Man,
way
we go
back. Yeah.
way back, man. We go
Yeah.
we go way back, man. And
Yeah.
again, I feel like I still have the same type of energy that I had
Yeah.
back then. Just maybe a lot more focus in what I'm doing. And the technology is so much different than back in 2007. So dealing with this audio and visual,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's better, it's faster, actually a lot easier than it was back then, where yeah, you had to come all the way down 95 or the BW Parkway, to come to our studios there at XM there on Eckington Place between New
Yes.
York, you
Yep.
know, by Dave Thomas Circle there by the Wendy's down in
Yeah.
Northeast.
I remember that, man. I remember that.
Yeah.
And shout out to Dave Z, man. Dave
Yeah.
Zara, man. Hey, be safe. Dave protesting every weekend in DC, man. So be
Yeah.
safe down
He's been
there.
one thing about Dave, man. He's consistent, man. He hasn't changed, and he keeps that energy up. That's the one thing about Dave. He's 10 toes deep in the
Oh
fight,
man.
and
Yeah.
got to give him credit for that. He hasn't changed. I mean, he's probably changed and getting wiser.
Yeah.
But as far as being unique and genuine in who he is as a person, I've always admired him, and he's a fantastic writer, and every time there's something comes out, I try to support him as best as I can to my highest ability,
Yes,
So
sir. Yes, sir.
yeah.
And a great moment on Sands on Sports because I have an author cousin in my family. I always heard about my cousin Kaisi. Kaisi, he writes these books, yo. So and matter of fact, I have a Kaisi Layman section over here. But talking to Dave, I come to find out they're both fans of each other. You know what I mean? So I
Yeah.
got to have them both on, and they were using all that intelligent speak. You know what I mean? They're using big words. I'm just using You know what I mean? But it was still dope, man, to have that type of communication, what they call content on my show. Those two brothers, man, definitely, man. So you're in New York, correct?
Correct. Yeah. Yes, sir. Harlem
I'm
now. Yeah.
I'm in Baltimore,
Right.
and I want to say the bugs are back. I mean, I'm in my backyard. I take a little smoke break in the back. Usually in the wintertime, it's cool. It's a little chilly, but no, you might see a deer. There's bumblebees. The bumblebees have taken over. The ants are back.
Yep.
Everything's popping with the bugs. The bee, because I play golf. Got
Hmm.
stung on the golf course 2 years ago, 3 times, man. So I'm just like, but you're not supposed to kill bees, all right? So what the fuck you supposed to do?
I don't know, man. Well, you kind of look like a bee right now. You know
Oh,
what I'm
fucking
saying?
right. Killer bees, Barry Bonds, Bonilla, Barry Bonds, Bonilla. But this is football. I don't want to talk about too much. Well, no, the Pirates are doing good, kind of. They've been getting beat by Texas, but Pirates are doing kind of good. But the Penguins, so I don't want to talk
Oof.
about too much of Pittsburgh, nothing but football, because I don't want to jinx the draft, because we need a great draft. Hopefully, we get anyway, we're going to go into the draft and this, that. But hold on. Today in sports history, got two great things that happened today. One thing, Hank Aaron hit his first home run today. All the home runs he hit his first one today. And matter of fact, today was Kareem's last game too. So those are the two. I don't have the years, but
Must have been something 50
four.
something or 54 for he was a Milwaukee Braves then.
Yep, yep.
So because they went from Boston to Milwaukee, so they were as Milwaukee Braves for Hank.
1954.
Yeah, good. Yeah, wow. So April 23rd, 1954, Henry Aaron, the pride of Mobile, Alabama, hits his first home run, one of what did he hit, 754?
55.
55. Yeah. So, honestly, like Hank Aaron is a guy that I don't think people talk about as being one of the goats. I mean, he is, man.
Yeah,
Dude,
yes.
are you kidding me? I mean,
Yeah.
like RBIs and average. I mean, consistent player, just a great, ball player. He wasn't, extremely a loud type of guy, but
Exactly.
never got hurt, played all those years, and then had to deal with that crazy racism going down when he was for the
Yeah.
Atlanta Braves, when he was about to break Hank Aaron's when Hank Aaron was about to break Babe Ruth's record,
Yeah.
he had to face death threats and all types of stuff
Yeah.
because of that, because, this country's filled with lunatic racists
Damn.
still. So
Damn.
still. So, and it was funny because like those two gentlemen that kind of like jumped out on the field, he got
Yeah.
scared at first,
I know. Hey,
apparently.
man, that was one of my favorite moments ever.
I
His man
know.
running with the bag with the toolie in it. Like he
Yeah,
gonna
but
bust
they actually
somebody.
came up. They actually came up and were like excited and like shook his hand. And apparently he had built like a friendship with those two after. I think they got
Yeah,
arrested and everything, but I think he ended up having like a friendly relationship with those two guys after that.
yeah,
Because they weren't there to snuff him out. They were there because they were excited for him. So, but that was an interesting moment. But wow, his first home run today, and Kareem's last game for the Lakers. That must have been what,
19. And the crazy thing is, we're
1989.
in the playoffs already. This year, but this was his
Right,
last regular season game.
right.
1989, last
Yep.
regular season game.
1989. Yeah, I figured that. Yeah, that it was already at the end pretty much. Was kind of lucky that he played in that 89 season, but that
Yeah.
was the end. I mean, that was the first Pistons championship game. So they lost to the Pistons
Wow.
in the championship game that year, and I believe Magic got hurt early in that series. So the Pistons kind of rolled over that first championship, and then obviously they won back to back, and then would lose to the Bulls in the conference finals the following year. So yeah, but yeah, I remember Kareem's last years at L.A. for sure. Remember that.
Hmm.
We're old enough. We have enough gray in our beards to remember these things.
Yeah, well, ladies and gentlemen, the thing about it is that Ari knows sports, he knows history, knows data. So like usually I'm saying those sports were kind of nonchalant. We fuck up stats, everything. Nah, Ari's about to, he about to get it right one time.
Sometimes, yeah, sometimes I'm off by a number or two.
Oh man, oh man. So yo, let's jump into it, man.
Sure.
And like we're talking about, the NBA playoffs are going on, but I want to ask you this question, man. Have they messed up watching sports, dude? Like I kind of love the technology, but like if you try to go from game to game, that's
Yeah.
tough because you got to deal with the buffering. The buffering. I
Yeah.
don't. I like the old school, man. You just flip a channel. You go from channel five, boom,
Right.
boom, right
Yeah,
there.
the
But
one button. In this case, it's like you got to hit the home button and then you got to go find the other app and then you got to jump in that other app and get it. There's no like fast way to do it. Even when you're, like the way I do it, I use like bootleg streams, like those,
yeah,
you
yeah.
know, it's very difficult to that because then that thing is like not only buffering, but then you got like the pop-ups and everything that come up and
Buffering.
you got to close it and open it. Yeah, switching games on that type of thing is
Yeah,
it's a hassle, man. So it's like you kind of have to have multiple browsers up, but then that slows
yeah,
everything up,
yeah,
and then you're closing and you get all these like random download things. You're totally screwing up your entire hard drive trying to just stream one game, but that's kind of what we have to do because I mean, paying for all these services at once. I mean, a lot of, we talked about cutting the cord, almost a
yeah.
decade ago. And nowadays, look where we're at. Now
About the
it's
same
you,
price. They say
it's
it's still
more.
cheaper, but it seems
No,
like it's
it's
about the
not.
same price.
No way it's cheaper because you got to talk about paying for your internet, which is what, $50 to $90 a month, depending on the speed.
Ching,
Okay. And then you got to deal with like each of these things are like $9.95 a month, twelve
ching,
ninety five a month, right?
ching.
It keeps going up. So it is probably more than it
Hey,
was when we cut the cord, which I figured was going to happen at some point. They catch on, as far as being able to milk the consumer out and fleece us.
yeah, that
It's
might have
been
been the play. That might have been the play.
the
Get them
long
hype on
game.
canceling cable, and then we're gonna just spring the apps on them for the low when the cable starts. And then once everybody's off cable, gayow.
Boom. It's a wrap. Yeah, yeah.
Cuzzo,
Ready,
what's
ready
up?
for you.
Yo,
Yeah,
late,
for the setup.
what's going on, baby? How you feeling? We over here wilding. Cuz still trying to do. He getting his audio video. It's all good, man. But hold on. Let me see. Cuz doing it. He got it doing it. But yeah, man. I mean, it's like I like to watch westerns too. I want to watch that show with I don't know, man. The one with Billy Bob Thornton, man. I want to watch that,
Oh,
man. But on Paramount Plus, but it's just
oh,
like which
that's another service.
which one do you get? I mean, Netflix TV definitely. I mean not Netflix. YouTube TV is a definite. That's the foundation. If I just want to watch Family Feud, YouTube TV. If I want to watch the Pirates in Tampa Bay on a Wednesday, the Guyal bootleg stuff I got on that TV right there. I got the Buccos wherever they go. 14,000 channels, but again, Ari, like we talked about, the buffering.
Hmm.
Fucking buffering, dude. And,
Yep.
and like say you're watching the score on your phone and you're watching the game on
Oh
TV.
yeah, you got to choose one because it's the score on your phone is generally ahead of what happens because of all the buffering that you get on on the bootleg streams.
Yeah,
So, you're dealing with that whole thing. So I try to not do that, but obviously we're fans and we're kind of like, all right, you see that score go up by a point, 2 points, I'm watching the Knicks and it's like 2 points and I'm like, all right. And then a minute later you see those 2 points pop up and how they were scored or what have you. So,
yeah,
it's definitely one of those things that, just got to deal with. Sometimes we're not quite at that point where the technology is fully functional for us, people that are trying to get by on doing things, the cheap way.
yeah. Well, I think one thing for consumers to always understand is technology. They might present it as, hey, this is the new way of doing things, makes it easier for everybody. Cost is it, they're gonna get you. Technology means you're gonna
All
get
day.
got. It's just not for free. So anytime some new ideas, some new invention, some new wave comes, is coming with with one of them scan. You get Apple Pay at the end of the to boost.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
exactly.
Yeah, but anyway, NBA playoffs. You've been watching?
I've been watching some of it, been able to, as much time as I have to watch it,
It's a
mostly the
lot.
Knicks. I watched the Knicks, I watched some of the Lakers, watched some of the, which game was it? Usually on the weekends I have more time to be able to watch the games than during the week.
Yeah.
So watch the Knicks, obviously, losing game two was, as a Knicks fan, that was tough, rough. And really it's wondering why the hell we fired, Tom Thibodeau, because
Yeah, that
they
didn't
bring
make
in
any.
Mike Brown. He showed himself to be. Look, he's a great assistant coach. I don't think he's an elite head coach, and he was outcoached in that game. And it's frustrating watching the Knicks because they do have the talent. I think they're good enough to make the finals, but I think that their coach is a problem with the rotations, with being able to figure out how to make adjustments on what type of defenses and who to put on who. When a player is getting hot, you don't put your worst defensive player and Jalen Brunson on him
Yeah.
for extended periods of time. Like, once that dude hits two shots in a row, it's all right. We're putting, OG, or we're putting Bridges on him now because, um, that you're not. It's just there were some mind-boggling moves that he made, so that was frustrating in that sense. As far as that is concerned. And then not Cat not getting the ball in the last 4 or 5 minutes of the game. I mean, it,
Yeah.
it just doesn't make sense. Like, you're sitting there scratching your head. Look, I understand these guys know more about the game than you and I have forgotten more about the game, but I just think sometimes in moments, they're not able to really kind of gather the right
Let me ask you this:
instincts. Yeah.
who's Pippen and who's Jordan on the Knicks?
Well, I mean, like, look, this that's kind of a that's kind of like a
Bing, ding,
difficult.
ding, ding, ding.
Yeah, I mean, but like, who is like that on any team right now? There's no Pippen and
Well, nah,
Jordan.
nah. There's always
You
the
mean like a?
stand. There's always the one who's going to take that shot.
Well, I mean, it is Brunson clearly, but
For real?
yeah, I mean, look, I mean, last year he was like the clutch player of the year. If you look, he had like the most points within the last, like, and considered clutch moments last
Yeah,
year. This year, not as much.
yeah,
But he was at a clutch, one of the more clutch players, still kind of is. He didn't have a good game the other day offensively, and
yeah,
he was kind of forcing it, and they were doing too much ISO. Again, that's on the coaching and that's on the players kind of stepping in. Like, you've got a guy who has a significant size advantage in Cat, who the Atlanta on defense doesn't really have anyone that can guard him in the post in particular, and you just don't give him the ball. It doesn't make sense. Everyone's just standing and watching Brunson. So he's much better when that's not happening, when the rest of the team is moving around, when you have another option like Cat that's able to get some points in the post and maybe hit a couple 3-point shots in transition. But when you've got, Brunson kind of just sitting around and dribbling for 16 seconds of the shot clock, and that's after it taken 6 7 5 seconds getting over the line. He has the ball for 80%, 90% of the possession, for the most of the last 4 minutes of the game. That's just not a recipe for any type of team to win in this league. Doesn't matter which player that is, whether that's SGA, whether that's
yeah.
you know Doncic, who hasn't been playing,
At
obviously,
all. Yeah,
whether
he hasn't been
that's
playing. Yeah,
Jokic, any of the top players that we're speaking of, Tatum or Brown, and the Celtics. That's just not a recipe for any team. I mean, even shit, even Jordan and Pippen, that triangle offense at the time, even though it's kind of an obsolete in this game, at this point, that triangle offense was based off of heavy rotations and movement without the ball, and not having ISO plays. It was just that wasn't the type of offense. So it just didn't make any sense to me. And I don't know how Brown tolerated that and allowed that to continue. He could have called a timeout and was like, no, we're going to keep our offense going in the way that it does, make some adjustments, put, some more rotations in, do some more pick and rolls for crying out loud. You got a guy that can hit threes and can also get into the lane. He's a 7'1" guy in Cat, and you don't even do any pick and rolls in the last 4 minutes of the game. Look, like I said, Brown knows
give
more
him the
about
ball.
basketball than I could ever know. But
Yeah,
sometimes you're scratching your head about what is he doing in the moment, not doing things that are kind of obvious that worked went, especially at the end of the season, and worked even throughout the rest of the game. So it's some things are just like you scratch your head. You're just like, I don't know. Some of these guys just don't have it when it counts. And I don't think Mike Brown is that dude. We'll see tonight if they make the adjustments, and I'll eat my words, or whatever.
So the bar, I mean, because again, I think getting rid of Thibodeau was a mistake. So the bar for the Knicks is they have to go to the NBA championship, correct?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, you fired last year. They made it to the Eastern Conference Finals and lost what in 7 games. Uh, they were right there, and
Yeah.
and you had back-to-back seasons for the first time in 20 years. And you fire the guy to do that. I mean, being a Knicks fan has been miserable for a long time, and now all of a sudden, you got Thibodeau who's able to get them. So I get it. Like he kind of has a ceiling, but his ceiling was higher than Mike Brown's ceiling will ever be. So it's like you fire this guy, you bring in a guy that really doesn't have, I think, the makeup to be a guy that can take him further. So why would you fire someone that already got you further than you've been in in a quarter century, right? Why
Mm-hmm.
would you do that? Why would you fire that guy and to bring in a guy that what has he ever done? When was the last he coached the Kings? They fired him from the Kings. Great. They made the playoffs one year and lost in the first round. What has he ever done? He's a great assistant coach, but as a head coach, he's not. So you're going to replace Thibodeau, replace him with someone that's better. And they didn't do that. So it's just like, just dumb moves. They're personnel moves that they made. I can't say that I can complain too much about that. They've done a great job of building that roster out. You got to give a lot of, tip your hat to Leon Rose and what he's done and been able to with the contracts as well. But the front office, I don't know if I think it was more of a Dolan's move. They're maniac of an owner. I think he was the one that kind of pulled the trigger to get rid of Thibodeau. But I tell you what, man, that was a mistake. It's looking back because you didn't replace him with a guy that I thought has a higher ceiling. You replaced him with a guy with a much lower ceiling. But so
Yeah.
whatever,
I
maybe the
ma-
talent can get.
I imagine this Game 7, Eastern Conference Finals in the Garden. They let Charles Oakley back in. And the crowd
That's what.
goes
Oh,
crazy.
that'll be great.
And that was they win.
That's not going to happen. Dolan's is too much. He's a maniac. His ego is just out of this world. I mean, he's spying on everybody in that damn
Yeah,
building. What a
yeah.
maniac that guy is. Now I'm probably gonna. I go to a lot of Big East games and everything like that. I go to the Big East tournament like every year. So I get from me saying this. Now I mention his name, it's gonna get popped up, and then I'm gonna start getting surveilled next time I get into the Garden.
Yeah,
And I
yeah,
might have my
yeah.
credential denied.
Yeah, what Fat Joe say? This the hottest out here, man. You're going to get shit. This the most gorgeous, greatest podcast up, So yeah, you're gonna get popped. Hey, cuz, what's up? What's going on?
Um, I'm,
Hey, look at that voice.
yeah, I know, right? Lord have mercy. First of all, my apologies of not
Oh,
being
it's all good,
punctual.
man. We
Yeah,
kicking
yeah,
it.
no, yeah, it's good. But also, I feel I'm under the weather. The weather is
Yeah.
so, it's like a bell curve out here with weather, extreme highs, extreme lows. But I'm listening in, and you're talking NBA
Yeah, but
finals.
check it out. We're going to shift because Ari,
You all
they're going to
ready?
be like, yo, Sands and Ari, man, they on that East Coast hip hop shit, man. They just talking about East Coast hoops, man.
Got you.
So let's flip it because you out in LA. Man, they doing it without Luca and AR, man.
Yeah,
That's pretty cool.
chemistry. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You move the ball
And
around,
and
make
and
a
the
few
king is
shots.
still the king, basically.
That part, which is incredible. I don't think we've seen anything like LeBron ever,
Yeah.
especially at that age. I know how I feel just getting out the bed. You know, at in my 40s. So
Yeah.
I can imagine running up and down with young boys all day. So
Yeah.
salute
Yeah.
to the king. Yeah.
It was ill because they showed a picture of him in Cleveland as a rookie doing that underneath dunk, right? Then they showed him last night doing that same dunk. The biceps is like way bigger. And I'm like, damn, yeah, LeBron ain't fucking with y'all, man.
There's a few people that believe that he's like He's doing some extracurriculars with his.
Hey, if they ain't testing for it, fuck you talking about. I don't give a fuck. Hey, Barry needs to be in the Hall of Fame too. But anyway, yeah, if they ain't testing for it, fuck it. Yeah, man, go, man, be the king, man. I ain't mad at that, man. Do they have steroid tests in the NBA? HGH test in the NBA? I mean, they're
Mm,
not. I mean, hey, it's
mm,
about edge. In sports, the only time I'm mad at a cheater is when they get caught.
mm.
Cause,
Yeah.
bro, when we play back, I'm in the dugout trying to steal signs. I'm trying to get every advantage that I can on my opponent. So I understand that part of the game. So if
Mm,
somebody's cheating, if the guy that's on second base is looking at the catcher's fingers to get the signs, hey man,
mm,
that's part of the game. We're gonna
mm,
get that extra. You know, if
mm.
Tom Brady is going to deflate the balls a little bit so they feel better. Hey, that's a smooth move until you get caught.
Mm.
Then you the sucker. You with the
Yeah.
suckers.
Yeah, and the residuals not being a smaller
So yeah,
penis.
LeBron
Yeah.
cool. LeBron cool. He muscle man. And this is the thought that I have. You have to imagine, man, for the last at least 20 years, every meal, every nutrient, every liquid that has went in this man's body has been measured, regulated.
Mm,
He's not waking up at 3 ordering at Papa John's, no
mm,
shit like that. So yeah,
mm.
I mean, if
Well, you
anything
should
we
be
can cut.
penalized just for ordering Papa John's in general, because that ain't pizza. I don't know what the
Yeah.
hell
Oh
that
well, you're in
is.
New York, man. So come
Yeah.
on, man. Let's not
Yeah.
start the pizza wars, man. You're in New York, man.
Yeah. Yeah. LeBron gets his own his cookies made. You know what I
but
mean? So
real quick
you know.
though, KD. I mean,
Mm.
is he about to go out like a chump?
According to everybody that I've talked to, just with his ghost accounts on X,
Yeah, 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 yeah.
they the conclusion is that's what he's doing. But I don't believe so. I mean, he's one of the greatest players on the planet, um, and he's still that. You can't take that away from him, you know.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, you have to also look at Houston, the makeup of that team right now. They brought him in and they were depending on having Fred Van Fleet as a point guard, and they pretty much, didn't do anything to settle that issue. And that team is missing a true point guard. Reed Shepard ain't it. Reed Shepard's a good bench player to come off the bench to be a shooter, right? He's not a point guard. He shouldn't be handling the ball. Thompson, one of the Thompson twins, a great
yeah.
defensive player, pretty good. He can't shoot a lick, but
Let's
he's
see.
also not a
Let's see.
distributor. So that Fred Van Fleet is actually probably one of the most underrated players in the NBA, but he's a true point guard. That's what that
Yeah,
team needs
yeah,
because he's been able to distribute the ball amongst the rest of them, especially with Durant, and having him open up spaces for Durant, which Durant is really good at creating himself. But at the same time, having a true point guard to be able to create some more space to get better looks for Durant and everybody else on the team and Sengun, because now they're also running Sengun as the point guard to kind of use him as like a poor man's Jokic, and he's
yeah,
pretty good at that. But if you actually had a real point guard in addition to that, it would open up so much space for that team, and they just don't have that. And that's really what's killing Houston. And ultimately, you got to give JJ Redick credit for his coaching this year with this team, because he's been able to deal with all these types of adversity and injury throughout the entire season. And here they are up 2-0 and looking dominant without two of their big three.
yeah.
And so and he's been able to make those adjustments on defense, unlike Mike Brown is able to do for the Knicks, to be able to exploit that weakness, right?
You gonna come back to them Knicks, boy.
Oh, yeah, of course, right?
Mm,
So I think he's done a good job at exploiting that weakness that Houston has
mm.
without having that point guard and basically forcing those guys to have to handle the ball a lot more than they have, which cuts off the space for Durant to be able to get off the shots that he normally would be able to get if they had a true point guard. So
Yeah. Are any of the series you guys looking at? You're saying, hey man, they're just. I mean, I think the Timberwolves are actually going to rip. Timberwolves can fuck around and beat the Nuggets. They did. They. Hey, we've never seen Jokic frustrated. He don't get frustrated too much. He just hits the layup. He just don't miss shots. That's what he normally does. But they seem to kind of get him frustrated out of his game the last game. So I don't know. And look, Ant-Man is Ant-Man. So I don't know about that one. Toronto, I think Cleveland's going to get them out of here easy. Celtics going
Toronto.
to get the 76ers out of here. What
I
about
don't know.
Wemby? Wemby got a concussion.
Yeah, that's a big one, man.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
first off, this is the first time San Antonio has been in the playoffs in 8 years,
Yeah.
and this is Wemby's first playoff. So you got to put
Yeah.
that into play. Yeah, he had a great year but the playoffs is a different monster. So
Yeah.
you're dealing with a whole different thing. And by the way, like, what is it? They're playing the
Yeah.
Trailblazers. I mean, where do they come from?
The Jailblazers.
Yeah, well, these ain't the jail. Well, I mean, their coaches are
Yeah.
jailblazers, but but here they go. Like, I mean, talk about adversity. I mean, they had their coach get dinged up in a federal investigation for
Yeah.
gambling, and now you got Tiago Splitter there, and now that ownership is also a whole mess because they're
Yeah.
like
He don't want to spend no money.
they want to spend no money, and now they're talking about maybe not even bringing Splitter back. I'm like, how can you not do that? He just won a game in the playoffs. This team
They're
was
looking
supposed to be
for a coach.
tanking
They're looking for a coach right now.
right now.
Somebody's job was to wake up and look for a coach today after a win.
Meanwhile, they very easily can end up winning this series. If they go up 2-1, that's without Wemby, that's a whole different Spurs team. So, they're going to have that belief. And now you're going to talk about finding another coach. Who the hell's going to want to coach at Timberwolves? You can get a like in college at I mean, I'll coach them, for 1.5 mil, I'll coach them for 60 grand at this point, 70 grand. It's cheaper to live out in Portland than it is in
And
New
they
York.
got good weed out in Portland. What?
Yeah, well, at this point you can get that weed anywhere though. You know how it is.
And that's a fact. Matter of fact, Ricerstown Road here in Owens Mills. But anyway, keep going.
Yeah, man. So, that whole thing with Wemby and that concussion, I mean, I still think they'll win that series, but it's.
Oh yeah, they got some dogs on that squad.
Yes, Castle is a beast, so yeah, they should win. I mean, if they win the next game without Wemby, obviously they're going to win that. But I mean, a lot of things have happened in this playoffs. I mean, to be honest with you, the teams that look the best, obviously OKC and the Lakers. Those are the two teams that have looked the best in the playoffs. Everyone else is kind of like, I was happy to see the Sixers beat the Celtics. It made me feel better about the Knicks losing game 2 because then I'm like, all right, I was like in, DEFCON 1, I'm like blowing up my own self. It ruined the rest of my week so far. And but then the Celtics lost at home to the Sixers, and they don't even have Embiid. So I'm like, all right, maybe we got something here. And obviously Orlando won game 1 against Detroit, who's the 1 seed. So. Yeah. It's hard to win games in the playoffs. It just is. It's a different monster. So, but I expect chalk to prevail, except in that series that you mentioned. I do think that Minnesota is the best lower seed to possibly pull off this upset. It's just the matchup is a difficult one for Denver.
Yeah, it is. And honestly, since we'll get into it a little bit, but since the Flyers is whooping the Penguins' ass, I hope the Sixers get swept. And with that being said, we are out. Let me see my horn. Oh, I deleted the horns. There's no horns. I'm just letting you know we're going to the second quarter. And if you look at my T-shirt, because anytime something happens in Pittsburgh, like my Uncle John, he just sent out the hats this week, so everybody's getting NFL draft hats like in the mail today from Pittsburgh. But anyway, today is the NFL draft. I think I got Rich Eisen on in the back. So everybody's in Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh, I mean, if you're the capital of the NFL world, then you are capital of the sports world. So the capital of the entire sports world is in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. And it's a beautiful thing, man. I'm just watching everybody's stories on Instagram. They got shows, nice and smooth. Chubb, Rock, Nelly was there last night. We don't mess with Nelly, but still Nelly was there last night. Yeah, man, Wiz Khalifa about to be there. And guess what? There's a lot of country western stuff that I don't know anything about, but it's going on at the NFL draft. So
Yeah, neither do I.
Yeah, man. So are we in the consensus here that Mendoza is going to be the number 1 pick?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, that's already locked.
Yeah, yeah.
Je-
Not a not a
Jesus
not a
Jesus has already settled that one.
Yeah, and not a great team to go to, but that's I think that's where quarterbacks go to die, unfortunately. But
I saw a
yeah,
picture. I saw they said Oakland's taking over Pittsburgh. I seen it. I saw that. Said Oakland Raiders fans are
It's
taking
a lot.
man
They're Las Vegas though. They
mm,
don't
Las Vegas.
Oakland.
Yeah, they said Vegas.
Yeah,
Don't know
they
Vegas.
call Oakland. Oakland calls them the Traders. Trust me, my sister's been out in Oakland since '92, right? So she's basically an Oakland, you know, diehard at this point. So they call them the Traders. They hate them now. They're pissed,
Yeah.
and they have every
mm,
right to be. How
Hey.
about talk about Oakland, man? Damn, what a great sports town that was. But they
Yeah.
don't have no
mm.
sports teams anymore. The A's are gone. The Warriors are in San Francisco again.
Yeah.
And
About
now
money,
the
man.
Oakland is in Las Vegas.
Yeah,
So
and the owner has the worst
haircut.
haircut in sports. But hey, he got him a young tenderoni. But yeah, check
That's a
out Shorty like she fly. I don't know. I understand why she don't take him to the brothers. There's a lot of brothers and Dominicans and Mexicans in Las Vegas that will give him a nice taper. Taper that shit up, nigga. Looking like Trump's son, motherfucker. Fix that shit up. But then, hey. Got more money than me, so when
You
you
look
got
like a little
money,
rascal type shit, like one of the little
yeah.
rascals.
So let me zoom in. We got oh man, it's horrible, man. We got the Raiders first pick, the Jets,
hmm
Cardinals, Tennessee. I say Tennessee because every time now I see Tennessee, I think of Vrabel and the chick and AJ Brown and some. I just see it. I just see it. So anyway, every time I see the Titans and Rossini, yeah. So I see Vrabel, Rossini, and AJ Brown and Motel 6 and Ringo.
Oh
Every
Lord,
time I
have
see the
mercy.
Titans logo, the New York Giants, Cleveland Browns, Washington Commanders. Where the Steelers pick at? Matter of fact,
You guys are always you got to
21st.
scroll up for them.
Yeah.
When is the
20.
last time the Steelers have had a top 15 pick? That's what happens when you never have a losing season under what the whole tenure of
Mike Tomlin.
of Tomlin.
Shout out to
Mm.
Coach on NBC. Now he took Coach Dungy's spot, and hey, this is Coach.
That's
Hey,
fine with me.
hold
Yeah.
on,
Yeah.
hold on. This is pro Coach Dungy. You know what I
Okay.
mean? He was at the
Okay.
Hall of Fame, so this is pro Coach Dungy joint. But
Uh-huh.
yeah, man, Mike Thomas going to NBC, but forget all that. He's not a coach anymore. Mike McCarthy's a coach. We're behind Coach Mike right now.
Mm.
So yeah, man, Steelers. I don't. We need a quarterback. I like Will Howard though. I want Will Howard to prove me wrong. Give him a chance to prove me wrong.
Yeah, no, at the end of the day, there's a few quarterbacks. I like Aller if he's available with that maybe second or third round pick. I would see if he's there or Green um, in the latter maybe early fifth round. He has that Lamar look to him. He's fast as hell, and you can work on his arm mechanics.
Yeah,
And McCarthy talks like he wants to develop a quarterback, so
yeah,
there's that. Um,
Does
but I
Rogers
think
not
our
go there?
first pick should be an offensive lineman. We need a guard.
yeah.
I like the kid out
Yeah,
of Penn State.
Okay.
Yeah.
yeah. I guess Ty Simpson isn't kind of exciting any of y'all Pittsburgh fans, is he? Yeah,
Nah.
I didn't think so. I don't think he. This is a pretty shallow quarterback draft this year. Next year is going to be
Shallow.
much better.
Yeah.
It should be. There's a lot more potential next year. It looks like. I mean, it's hard to tell, but here Aller, he's an interesting one because last year, the year before, I mean, everyone was talking about him being a top 3 pick. The problem with Aller is that like I've never seen him do well in high pressure moments. In fact, I've seen him
Mm.
fold in every single high pressure moment.
You hear
It's
that?
like if
Damn.
I were a gambling person and I was on the prop bet tip, I would always bet for him to throw an interception or an incompletion in the last 2 minutes of a ball game because I think he's done it so many times, but
Damn.
his skill set, I mean, he's big, he's built like Josh Allen, he can run a little bit, he's got an absolute cannon for an arm. But does he have that kind of it factor to be able to do things when you need him to do it in the crunch time? In the last 2 minutes of a game, is he going to be a guy that's going to make that play, make that throw, get out of a sack and get a pick up a couple of yards, or is he going to shit the bed? His college career has done that. However, I don't think I don't think a GM is going to take him in the second or third round. I think he's better. He's probably going to be in the later fourth, fifth, sixth round. He would be more of a project and kind of like something like that. But I wouldn't gamble on an earlier round pick on him as a quarterback. The big question from a quarterback standpoint, and I'm biased on this one, and I'm kind of mixed on it. But it's Carson Beck. I'm a Miami guy. I went there. So Carson Beck, I've been seeing his name all over the place. Some people saying
He's
he might
always
sneak back.
LeBron.
What's
Ain't he
that?
about LeBron's age?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Well, look, I mean, that's where we're at in college sports now. You got a
Not
lot of
anymore. You heard 47. He about to bring that shit in. You gotta be a certain age. You about to bring that shit in, yeah.
47, right. Listen to that fucking idiot. But yeah, like these
Hey,
these guys. What? Hey,
let me ask you a question, man. Okay, you both are Tahir, you're the number one recruit coming out of high school. Ari, you are the number two recruit defensive back, cornerback coming out of high school. You know you're going to the pros. You know you're going to the pros. What school are you going to facilitate you getting to the pros? Both of
me.
you.
The one that's paying the most.
No, but guess what?
That's a great point, man. That's a great point.
Say you go to the school that got the biggest bank, but they don't put the most dudes in the league. You go there and you're hurt because their training staff sucks, and you're hurt, or their strength and conditioning coach sucks, and you're hurt. Your second year, you don't even get drafted because you fucking tore your ACL or your rotator cuff or some shit. So again, we're talking about a program that's going to nurture you to. You already know you're going to be in the draft, but you want somebody to make sure you are like you go to Duke. Like when Krzyzewski was there or whatever, or Calipari, you're going to their programs because you know they know how to get you to the league.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely a variable, right?
Yeah.
But also have to, I mean, well, I guess you said you know that you're going to the league.
Yeah.
In my mind, being a young person coming out of high school, I knowing what I know now, I would play things by percentages, and not many folks coming out of high school and being great are going to make it to the league. So I would go for the definites and work hard to get to the next level. So
Mm.
yeah, but no, you make a great point about
I'm going to Ohio
the
State. First of all,
facility
let me
coaches.
yeah. I'm going to O State. I'm going to O
Yeah,
State.
that's
I'm going to
that's
O
what
State.
that's what I would say be one. And now I'm going to say
I'm going
again,
to-
my bias is going to show on this one, but I just think it's starting to move back in that direction is Miami. I think Miami is starting to develop guys.
Yeah.
If we look at it, they're
Oh,
going to
that
have
young boy receiver, the freshman, he's nice.
Malachi Tony. Yeah,
Yeah,
Malachi
he's
Tony.
nice.
Right. But I'm saying now because of Mario Cristobal's program that he has, their strength and conditioning program, their defensive coordinator and Heatherman, just their whole program that they have there is built on developing. I mean, if you look at it, they're going to have 3 draft picks probably in the first round, possibly 4 if Keontae Scott gets drafted in the first round. So you're gonna have Bain, you got Maui Noah, and then you're gonna get Akeem Messidor. Messidor was a transfer, but he played 3 seasons at Miami. Bain and Maui Noah came in as true freshmen, started as true freshmen, and they developed. And now he's got. So I'm looking at that now. That program is starting to really get guys to develop into pros. So this year they're probably going to get like 9 or 10 guys drafted. So I think next year they might even have more. But I would say in the case of where we are right now, if I were to be coming out right now, I'd be looking at Ohio State and Miami as my 1 and 1A, just because of where Ohio State has been as far as their results, and I think where the results are going to be going with Miami. So those would be my choices. Plus, you're also going to get a pretty good NIL deal from both places.
We,
But Tahir, I hear you, man. You're right. You're like, hey, I'm going to look at make my money right now because I and work really hard because there is no guarantee. Right. The percentages don't really look out no matter where you go. Right.
yeah,
So you're looking at it. I want to make my money right now. So just in case those percentages do get to that mean, at least I got something that I could, work with coming in for my labor that I am putting out here. So
right.
I like this kind of world. I mean, it's a little chaotic. They need to put some guardrails up. But trust me, I've been a proponent of paying these kids because they are working. This is a full-time job. You kidding me? It's a full-time job. These
Yeah.
young people have been deserved to get paid. They were exploited for so long. Now, finally, it's kind of democratized, a little chaotic, but so what? At this point, the coaches can bounce around as well. They make tens of millions of dollars now. If you look at DeBoer's contract that they just gave him at Alabama, it's insane. I don't even know the numbers, but the buyout is ridiculous. You have to pretty much you'd have to put a mortgage on like three entire U.S. states to be able to pay that one off. So but yeah, Ohio State and Miami,
Yeah.
they got two strong NIL programs, but I'm with Tahir on this one. I'm going with the percentages and who's paying me tomorrow.
Matter of fact, shout out to Mick Moore. Man, Mick Moriarty. He was the strength and conditioning coach at University of Cincinnati when I was there, and he hated my fucking guts because I didn't want to work out. So anyway, he was the strength coach under Urban Meyer. So he's been at Ohio State for like years, and now he's like the associate AD of strength and conditioning, some shit. So all that strength and conditioning is so important. Who's taking care of your body for the
Yep.
next 2-3 years and
Yep.
whatnot? But yeah, like I said, it don't matter. Ohio State gonna cut the biggest check anyway. You know what I mean? So yeah, regardless of what their program, they're gonna cut a big ass check, and you're gonna eat, man. But yo, you don't hear sound because I gotta get a horn that works. But we are going to the halftime. The halftime is gonna be very quick because it's about the NHL, and I was talking mad gangster shit about my Penguins beating the fucking Frost. I don't even know. The Penguins look old. The Penguins look like Walter Matthau and
Jack Lemon.
grumpy old men. That's fucking Malkin and Sidney Crosby right now because that's how they look. When you're watching hockey, one good thing to look at is shots on goal. That's going to tell you a lot about who's attacking, who's getting shots on the goal. And yeah, man, Penguins is always under the Flyers on shots on goal. So I know from the door they're about to lose. So yeah, man.
Yeah,
Later for
three,
the
three,
Penguins.
three, oh. That's crazy.
And
We gonna get one. Let's get one today. You can't get swept.
Hey, I
Come
don't
on.
even want one. Get them dudes off my timeline. I don't even want one. Pirates are doing good. Check it out. Check it out. If the Pirates are doing good, honestly, everybody, the Steelers, they can go too. If the Pirates are doing good, if the Pirates start winning, hey, it don't matter. I don't care who coaching quarterback Steelers, who when Sidney retired because my Buccos are in contention. They're making noise. They're not looking like the bums of the MLB. So that, hey, man, look, my mom ain't ever texted me this much ever since the Pirates been doing good. I get texts every day from my mom about the Pirates. So yeah, man, it's bringing families together in Pittsburgh. That's what the Pirates are doing. Yeah.
They're finally spending some bread. That's the
Well, yeah, on some bats. We got some bats. Some boys gonna knock that because we always had pitching. We had Skeens. We had some good pitchers. But again, it's like Skeens pitch, he'll lose 2-1. Like, damn, we couldn't get 3 runs, but now we getting 3. We getting 3. We getting 8. We getting 9. We get 15. We getting 7. Yeah, them some nice numbers. So yeah, it's looking good. But we were talking about hockey anyway because
You don't want to talk about hockey too much because
Yeah. We
well,
don't
maybe
talk
if
about
Pittsburgh didn't trade the goalie in the middle of the season or whatever towards
Skinner.
yeah.
We got Principal Skinner, the goalie for the Pittsburgh. Yeah, Principal Skinner is the goalie for the Penguins, man. Get the fuck out of here, man.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's he's been getting killed, and the Flyers kind of backed into the playoffs too. But that's
yeah.
that's the thing with the NHL. Like the NHL is such an interesting dynamic because, I mean, I don't know the stats on this, but like the dumbest trophy or whatever the hell it is that in any sport is the President's Trophy, which they hand out to the team with the best record in the NHL.
I mean, shit.
How many times has the President's Trophy actually won this cup?
Yeah.
It is like not hardly ever. Like it always seems like it's the one sport that the lowest seed, the 8th seed or whatever, they do a weird bracket, but the lowest seed with the least amount of wins has the best chance of advancing. And it's also the one sport out of all the sports that have series for the playoffs where if you're down 3-0, and this is the only
Oh yeah.
kind of light, has the I mean it's still a smaller chance, but still has the best chance of you
Yeah.
actually coming back from 3-0 and
Yeah.
winning the series.
Yeah.
Like you don't have like you had was it happen once or twice in baseball? I don't know if it's ever happened in basketball, but it's happened a good amount of times in the NHL. So not only if you're down 3-0, if you're down 3-1, like that means nothing.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
like the rankings and the seedings in the NHL don't really mean jack shit. And so, that could be the only sign of the only problem is that, they say a goaltender is, standing on his head when they're doing well and the team is hot. Right now it's your Skinner, your goaltender is sitting on his ass and you're getting smoked. So that's the problem. That's something that if your goaltending isn't good in the playoffs, you're done. It's a wrap. It's it. You can have great offense, but if you're not stopping goals and things like that, and right now the Flyers, like I said, they kind of got hot at the very end of the season. It was looking bleak for them for a while, but they got red hot at the end. You don't want to play them, so and Pittsburgh was going in the other direction. So sometimes that's how it works. Team gets hot, Flyers get past this one, they're going to be a very dangerous team because and Pittsburgh, if they can somehow win this thing, then I would look out for Pittsburgh because then it's like, all right, they got off the mat. But they had such a good year this year. You thought that, it was looking good, but once, Skinner, their goaltending has been a problem throughout the rest of the regular season.
We always had great goaltenders, man.
Ask ChatGPT and Gronk since 1985, only 37 teams have won the President's Trophy.
Right.
Only 8 of those teams have won the Stanley Cup.
Yeah.
Good research.
So 80% of teams that win that trophy do not win the championship.
But if you look at like the other sports, like if you look at MLB, I mean, how often does a team that wins the most games in this season, right, over 100, how often do they win the World Series? It's much higher of a clip. Yeah. It's probably 80% of them.
Too, it's a smaller pool of teams as well because not many teams get in the playoffs for baseball, like hockey.
No, that's true. It's not hockey. It's like half the league. It's the same thing as the NBA. It's half the league basically. So no, that's a good point. That kind of when you have a deeper playoff scenario, it makes it harder. To actually get through that because it becomes a huge gauntlet, and then it's basically the team sometimes win through attrition.
Well, I got breaking news. After Saturday, I'm not going to think about no fucking hockey until September, October because we play the Flyers and it's a done deal. I don't want to hear nothing. I'm tired of the Penguins. They pissed me off. We can just talk about the Steelers draft pick and the Buccos playing. I don't want to hear nothing about them. Oh, man, the Penguins, man. Come on, man. Break it up. Break it up. Break it up. And we're breaking up halftime, and we are going into the third quarter. Hey, fellas, there's a couple things. I saw this on Twitter. I'm on Twitter. Saw this on Twitter, and I saw one gentleman a couple days ago. And the girl was cooking. She was cooking. She was cooking some good Jamaican food, I think. But she had her women's stuff all over the camera as well, boobies or whatnot. And guys like, man, guys on Twitter is like, man, can't we just see some regular cooking, man? We always see boobies and all that. All right, dude, boom. And then today, I think I seen somebody, it was Joe Budden's ex-girlfriend. She cutting hair and she got a butt. so she's showing how she cut hair, but it's really a video of her butt, but she's cutting hair while and motherfucker was like, can't we just see a regular haircut? We gotta see ass all the time when we see a haircut. So are you brothers sick of sex I mean, I'm not, but are you
No, I'm
brothers
not.
sick like, are you offended that there's
No.
so much sex on the timeline?
Oh, on Twitter? No. I'm not
Just
offended
period.
by it. No. It's
Hey,
on the
hey, hey,
timeline
hey.
because you're watching it, champ. That's how
The
that's how it
Yeah,
algorithm.
works. That's
Yeah.
how the algo works, bro. Like, yeah, it's the
yeah.
reason why it's on your timeline is because you're paying attention to it. If you were just scrolling past or blocking it, it wouldn't
Yeah.
be on your timeline.
That's how
So
algorithms
don't
work.
right, exactly. So like, you can't how could people sit there and be like, I'm offended. You
Yeah.
sound like a hypocritical MAGA idiot, like I'm offended
Yeah.
by this, but you watching it. It's
Man, look.
look at your search history, like, oh my God, this is terrible. Yeah,
Yeah.
but let's look at your cache, bro. Like, so
Yeah.
but I'll tell you this though. Twitter, like they trick you with the algorithms because like if it sits on like it pops up on the timeline, and if it's on there for 1 second, you might not be interested in it and you're going to scroll past it, right? But if
Yeah.
you're there for like more than 1 second and it just pops there, and granted, yeah, like it's going to pop up in your face and you're going to sit there and look at it for more than 1 second, yeah, you're going to get a whole bunch of that stuff moving forward. So
Mm.
yeah, like it doesn't offend me, but it
Hey,
is
all
kind
right.
of crazy.
Hold on, man. I'm from the era in the '70s where you had to pray something just exposed the titty.
Oh
Like
yeah,
you
like
had to
scrambled
pray.
spice. Remember scrambled spice? You'd look at Spice Channel and you sit there and you went
Man,
there for an
hey, you
hour
trying to mess
just
with
for
the cable to get the
yeah.
wire, the line. So the fact that we've come to a point where men are complaining about, like shout to Janelle Monáe. When Janelle Monáe had that, where she was just releasing her album and her album rollout was just rolling out her titties. I love that. I love that. So it's like, but now dudes are complaining, man. It's too much titties, too much ass.
At the end of the day, is engagement, right? Everything is about how can I engage the user or get them to respond. And
Yeah,
women are using their assets,
yeah.
literally
And they like,
to do that.
ew.
I think it is the cheat code, right? I
It's
think
supposed to
any
be.
man who enjoys a woman would look and say, "Oh, I'll look at those. I'll take more than 30 seconds to look at those."
Yeah.
But what I do know is there are more men when we see a woman, online doing that, it's not somebody that, you want as your wife, right? You don't,
Yeah.
you may be like, yeah, I smash, but
Yeah.
do I want her to be my wife?
Yeah.
So I can understand why some men may complain because they may look at a woman's face and find them beautiful and enticing and hate with their online, you know, where every man can see, it's like if they were just showing titties to just that man, they would be like, yes, all day. But it's like, hey, you're showing your titties to every man that
Hey, hey, hey,
follows
hey,
you.
hey, girls on Twitter, we hate when you just show pictures to that man. We love when you show it to all. Yeah,
Sure.
so
I ain't mad at that, man. Look, like
I ain't
there's a
never been
market, man.
mad.
Like, no, man. It's also like, look, like some people like are just like they're just miserable. I mean,
Yeah.
especially on Twitter, it's just filled with just miserable people,
Mad at
and
titties.
and it is whining all the time. But I'm always sitting here thinking, I'm like, look, like, and I'm sitting here, I'm like, trying to pay my rent this month, and I'm sitting here, and I'm like, well, there's no appeal for me,
Yeah,
a middle-aged kind of overweight, white dude. There's no market for me, but there's a market for a fat ass any day. So
right,
this is
yeah,
just
right.
it's just a market. So that's how it
Yeah,
works. So some of these women are making millions of dollars. See some of the
yeah,
houses they're in. I'm like, God damn,
yeah.
I'm not mad at them. Look,
I ain't
that's how the
mad.
market is. This is the
That's
society we live in.
motherfucking yeah.
We live in a market driven. It's not a completely free market, but it is a market driven society we live in. So therefore, there's a market for this. And if there wasn't one, they wouldn't be living in those houses by
Mm,
showing their assets like that. So I'm
mm,
not mad at them because they're just taking advantage of the market, and that's their choice, and that's their right to do it. And
They
anybody
are.
getting mad at that, again, like Tahir said, I'm not, they're not, expecting them to be your wife and then complaining about them about, oh, look at these women out here. That's all they're doing. Well, that's what they're doing online. But
Yeah.
there's what,
Yeah,
5 billion women in the
golfing.
world. So they a couple of hundreds of thousands of them might be showing their titties and ass online, but so
Yeah.
what? How much of a
Yeah.
percentage is that in the world? Get outside and touch some motherfucking grass and shit. That's
Yeah.
all I have to say about that.
Yeah.
Let me push you a little further.
Yeah.
As far as children are concerned, right?
Oh yeah. Well, now we
Um,
got a different thing.
okay, so Jay, you having a daughter, right? I'm not sure if Ari, do you have any?
Yeah, I have a daughter.
Yeah.
So if your
Girl
daughter,
dads.
see,
Yeah.
okay, girls, shouts out to all the girl dads. I'm not a father. I wish to join your ranks at some point, but
You have to shoot up a
um,
club at some point for that. Don't worry.
I'm trying.
I'm
I'm
trying.
trying. Shooting blanks. So, but, um, how do y'all feel about um, younger people seeing this content um, and being influenced in a way?
Let the rabbit out the hat. Once the rabbit was out the hat with no rules, I mean, you got to kind of trust your parenting at this
Mm,
point. You have to
mm,
have faith because, again, soon as
Because
you gave me a smartphone in what 1982, shout out to Michael Jackson movie coming out. So Michael Jackson movie coming out, Purple Rain coming out, and I got a smartphone, and I can keep going back to Apollonia showing her titties in the movie. Nigga, I got to see that once and never saw it again until it came on HBO. So yeah, man. I mean, again, I mean, if I would have had the technology back then. Oh yeah, yeah. So, but you just have to trust. You have to
mm,
trust. Girls, boys, they're going to look,
mm,
but you have to trust that you instill the right foundation that they're going to make the right choice for them, whatever it
mm,
might be. Shit, it might be
mm,
some ew shit. It might be some hey, I kind of like that shit. I don't know, but whatever the choice is, you want it to be a safe choice for them. That's all. I think as parents, that's all of the things that we want. Hey, you can be whatever, choose, blah blah blah. Just be safe. Just make it to 50 where I'm at. That's all. I don't give a fuck what choices, who your friend. Just make the choices that's gonna bring you to 53 doing the podcast with dad type shit. So that I think that's kind of
yeah.
how I feel about it because again, the rabbit is out the hat. I'm talking about if you want to see some titties, Google titties. You're gonna see the best. I, Again, if they would, well, I was at Rosemore Junior High. If they would have had Google titties when I was in junior high school, goddamn. So, yeah, man, it's just the kids. You're blind if you think that the kids aren't watching it and aren't aware of it and aren't. If you don't think the kids know about Pornhub or whatever's out there or anything that they want to touch, they know that they can get on this phone, then you are doing yourself a disservice because these kids, man, are smart as hell and they have probably the greatest technology besides the car or the plane or the wheel in their hands every day. So
Mhm.
yeah, you got to trust them training wheels you put on them. You unscrew them training wheels. You got to hope that the motherfuckers don't stay riding, don't fall. You feel me? I
Mm.
think I think that's how I feel as a parent. I got a
yeah,
teenager. Ari still be on daddy duty, you know what I mean. So he
yeah.
ain't, yeah, he ain't hip to the teenage
Nah, I'm
life,
not there yet.
the
And yeah,
teenage love. Yeah,
that's
yeah.
that's a you're in a much more difficult space, especially now with technology, as you mentioned. Me, I'm in a space, where I have a lot more control over what kind of content my
Yeah.
child. She'll be 6 next month, right?
Wow.
So
Awesome.
so plus she's also on the autism spectrum too. So, there has to
Mhm.
be extra control and everything
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
But I'll give her my phone and what have you, and she'll go on YouTube and, lucky for me, I mean, or I try to keep her on YouTube Kids. Obviously, that content's pretty good. And for the
Yeah.
most part, even when she's on YouTube, she doesn't like none of the stuff that pops up that she has interest in. That's other than kind of goofy, crazy shit, weird videos and things like that. But none of it is like particularly offensive, just silly. But again, she's almost 6. As she gets a little older, that it is like you mentioned, Jay. The parenting is up to us. We have to be the ones involved enough, be over them enough to kind of instill them in the direction. But this is a huge challenge, something that you and we did not have this problem, because so much of our stuff that we had to go from the sex and everything like that required a lot more filters behind it that had a lot more protection, whether it was, a magazine or something like that. You had to get your hands on it from somebody, but then you had to go to a place to get that, as opposed to being in front of you at all times, being accessible at all times, and with such an extensive amount of content, at in a millisecond. That's where I would actually talk to you about, ask about how you do it. It seems like it's something that is just about kind of instilling basic values in general,
Yeah.
that to let them understand kind of like, hey, and I know it can't be an easy conversation, but just be like, hey, there's a lot of content that really
Yeah.
you got to keep a mind on, that is more adult oriented. And if you want to ask me about it, you can. Obviously, that's difficult. I'm curious how the schools are handling it right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's difficult. Now you got all types of stuff going on, and plus with the information kind of coming all over the place, and in general, even adults don't know how to fucking filter this shit. So
Yeah.
it's a huge challenge. But it's nothing. Again, you're there as a parent. You're there to support them. You're there to try to create those protections, and you want to do that, but you also want to give them the freedom and knowledge to make their own choices, and their belief in themselves to make their own choices as well. So
Yeah.
again, I'm still in a much earlier stages right now. And with the challenges of having a special needs child, which adds another layer. And of which I'm a rookie at this game because it's my
Yeah.
only child, and so, but yeah, that's a great question that Tahir just asked, and one that I don't have an answer to. And it's just kind of just like anything else in parenting. We're just figuring this shit out and kind of faking it to make it.
Yeah, man.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah.
You're on the fly learning, on the fly learning. One thing I've learned, shout out to Juvenile. Juvenile has a great hit song, and he says that she gets it from her mama. And the choice, and the son probably gets it from his daddy. You know what I mean? So partner choice, I think, is very important in the nurturing and raising of a child. Is the person you pick to procreate with.
Mm.
That's probably one of the biggest decisions to make. In parenthood is who you're going to share this child with. And yeah, man,
Yeah, well, there's a lot of problems on that end, and
yeah,
even if that relationship doesn't particularly work out, as long as there's a solid foundation, of both parents being kind of
yeah,
decent human beings amongst to each other and to the child, that's good. But there's a lot of people out here that haven't really done enough of their own work, and they
yeah. There's a
they
lot of people out here
project.
with a crazy partner. You got
Yeah,
kids with
well,
a nut ball.
yeah, yeah.
And they're on live. I mean, and it's not like it's hidden. They're on live, and it's on a shade room.
Yeah, they're online showing their titties.
They're online showing their titties, and their
Well,
mom's out, then their
yeah,
mother's outside having like a street fight with some other lady, pulling out an
mm,
extension or whatever, or a
I've been seeing
false
a lot.
teeth, depending on, you know,
Been seeing a
pulling
lot of
pulling on
street
the double wide door or whatever,
man. Hey,
you
fellas, I
get in
want to I
fights.
want to ask y'all heading out the third quarter if you guys have heard of the anti-AI movement. Where, yeah, people are actually, you know, fighting kind of like the X-Men fighting the AI giants. It's happening. People are fighting against. I don't. I mean, kind of like the Terminator. People are fighting
Right,
against
Skynet.
AI. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Mm.
yeah, yeah. Boo. Look, this is up your
So
alley, man.
I know that's why I was like, let me wait. But yeah, I when it comes to pushback against tech, that's kind of been happening throughout history, right? A new technology is introduced and people fight against it, right? Uh, Cars versus horses, right? For
Right.
instance, right? So what I'm seeing is, culturally even, right? Creative and culture pushback, where you had Timberland step out here and utilize the information or data from artists that were submitting music to him to create this artist, which I think is not moral, right? So artists got together and called him out on it. You're seeing people complain about data centers, how much energy is being consumed in their communities. Um, all of this is healthy, but I think the overall fight to you know remove the technology is futile, right? We do know that AI is coming down, and it's a tool that we will all use, and if we don't use it, we will get hit with a tidal wave of folks, using it and implementing it in ways which we can't compete in this capitalistic system. And soon to be really, well, the whole world is capitalistic, right?
Hmm.
Fighting for assets, the whole night. So anyway, um, so there's that, and then you got the job displacement. Um, you know, um, I code, right? But now I could just prompt up something on Claude, right? Um, and it will create the code for me. I don't have to sit hours and hours on end to create an application. Someone can just do that. So I have to pivot. I have to find other ways of making or generating money. Um, so that's futile, right? That's happening. But there's also um, privacy surveillance that I think is the most important out of all the pushback, you know, because AI is constantly collecting data. These social media platforms are collecting data, right? And a lot of it's being weaponized against us. So, you being a person, um, it's important to know the value of your data, the value of your information, and you should own your information. And so that's why I'm very big on crypto. I'm big on decentralization. Um, I'm big on decentralized wallets that hold digital assets, smart contracts, um, NFTs. All the um, narratives that focus on self-ownership and you being a person um, able to implement those things in these huge corporations could they can't control it basically, so um, so all in all, we just need to know that there are tools out here just like they're using the tools to protect ourselves. And the more people fight and hit their head against this thing, the more they'll go running to the tools that are available. I always use the you know, example. People didn't buy bottled water until they found out that the water was filthy, you know? And that's the same thing that's happening with data and other assets. So, yeah.
Mm, yeah, exactly right. Like during the Industrial Revolution, a term came about, the Luddite, because there was a group of people. I think the name of the person that started this movement was like George Ludd or something like that.
Mm.
And so there was a group of kind of fanatics at the time of the beginning of the early stages of the Industrial Revolution, where they would go out and they would basically go to these new factories and ultimately destroy the machineries in there as much as possible. But I think actually George Ludd was kind of like an imbecile, and they
Mm.
was named him after him because he actually like tripped over something and broke something. Like I think that's the sir. I don't know if that's the wives' tale of the urban legend of it, but the term Luddite, ultimately came from the Industrial Revolution. So This is something that has existed since the beginning of the Industrial Revolution, even before. I mean, I'm sure they were people, against Gutenberg and the printing press. There's always going to be resistance to it, and what Tahir said was very profound in the sense of, you know, there are legitimate concerns about these things, overstepping the privacy and security boundaries, things of that nature, also taking over, our jobs and our ability to make a living in this society and everything like that. And how much strain and pressure is that going to put on the every average day person? How many, in the, like we said, it's a capitalist society. So how much of that wealth is going to be distributed in a way that's equitable enough for us to be able to live and survive in a civilized society, right? So, we have to admit that there is a balance between being a Luddite, basically, and being completely against this, and also being able to utilize these tools because these tools are coming. They're here. We're not going to stop it. It is already in possession. It is already in the motion, and that there's too much momentum in that way. Now, what we can do is kind of figure out the best way to protect ourselves, like you said. Like, you want to use it on the blockchain and everything like that because it is a more decentralized way to be able to protect your own information and data and things of that nature. And then also finding ways to use these tools which are coming to leverage. Because right now, as you said, it still depends on humans to prompt, right? So
Mhm.
we have to be, if our fight is not against these things in AI, our fight is our role in being able to keep control over AI. And I think that the more we keep that in the hands of more of us, the better opportunities we're going to have. So I'm actually interested and I'm intrigued by where AI can take us, as long as we're not willing to give that power that we do have as individuals and collectively as a society up to these machines, ultimately owned by the oligarchs of this. We still
Mhm.
can control, we still can manage things and utilize some of this technology for our own good and for our own purposes, to be able to kind of maneuver and to evolve and to kind of move on to the next level. But I think the ones that are fighting against it, that are completely anti, are actually not our allies in this. In fact, I think they're the ones that are going to accelerate the more negative aspects of it. And I think you
Yeah.
made that mention of it, because
Yeah.
ultimately, oftentimes what happens, um, when it comes to, like, especially like online, these online revolutionaries, like from a political sense, oftentimes they're over here and they want to accelerate the revolution. That's why they, support these candidates that will never have a chance of winning, because they have this purity sense of, they think, and they really believe in the revolution and everything like that. Meanwhile, they ain't going to be the ones picking up the guns. And meanwhile, they're not the ones that are ever going to face the consequences of the reaction to the revolutions, right?
Mhm.
It's always going to be the people that really don't have the time, the energy, or the wherewithal to be able to do it. And those are the ones that are going to be facing the consequences of it. So all these anti-AI people, many of them are kind of, chicken littles. I call them cosplay revolutionaries. And
Mm.
ultimately, they are not the allies of people that are actually going to be affected by it the most, which is the average everyday person. And I think that we do have to fight against them on one front, which I think is easier than fighting against the oligarchs, obviously, because they have the power and the money. So we have to kind of like, but we have to speak out against that. We have to be vocal in saying, like, no, 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 no. We can actually utilize these tools for our own advantage, as opposed to being such a kind of dogmatic person that thinks that, oh, this is going to destroy humanity. No, it's already here. It's already built in the system. It's already has too much momentum. We have to try to grab onto it and figure out the best way to use it, because otherwise we're going to get tossed off this thing. And I don't want these people that are going to be breaking up these machines. Which the irony is that they're over here complaining online. I'm like, what the fuck you doing? You're already part of the machine, you idiots.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know. So so I kind of dismiss them, and I don't think that they deserve to get too much attention, in my opinion. And I think that's the best way to kind of undermine them, is to not pay them that too much attention, and not to give them too much oxygen, because I think they kind of present a big problem. And if they are somewhat successful or able to do it, they're going to be used against the rest of us who really don't want to have anything to do with them. That's my opinion on it. if that
Oh,
makes
word.
sense.
I'm glad you guys said that because I had the anti-AI movement in my Amazon cart, the T-shirt, but I'm not gonna order it, and I'm going to, you know what I mean? Thank you guys for clarity. And
Well, look, you could be against the anti AI movement to a sense of
man, I'm
of
using
where
AI
it can
every
go.
day.
Of course you do. Yeah,
I ain't against it,
you just
but
wanted the shirt.
yeah. I like to see him hit like maybe one of the kids at the high school when I pick up my daughter. Oh, pops! Oh, yeah, he's with it. You know what I mean? Hey, real quick before we get, because we're out of here. But real quick before we get out of here, I want to ask you, Ari, because you are in NYC. This is a thumbs up or thumbs down question. Mondami is right now. Is he thumbs up or thumbs down? Oh no, that's a great.
I'm doing this. It's too early. It's
Too
too
early.
early.
It's too
It's too
early.
early. Yeah,
Okay.
it to me it's too early. Like I can't tell, and like he doesn't have that much experience in this position, and there's a
Yeah.
lot of things that he's doing, and a lot of the things he's not going to be able to do.
Exactly.
And it's 8 million people that live in this city, and to be able to govern it is very difficult. You have to become pragmatic and moderate, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Some of his ideas, like the housing ideas, I don't think would work, and I think he's starting to figure that out. But I'm not giving up on the guy.
Yeah.
I've always was mixed about him. But I'm also not one of these people that reacts to everything that happens about it.
Yeah.
It gives it time. Like I'll see, what happens. You got to give it time. Like I thought De Blasio was a terrible mayor, but there
Yeah.
was one thing that he did, which actually benefited my family directly, is that he brought universal 3K into New York City, and that
Uh-huh.
has been an unbelievable success. And my child was in a 3K program,
Yeah.
and that didn't exist before. He was a failure in many other things, but I got to give him credit. That was one of his big things, and he was successful in that. And that not only successful, but it's sustained.
Yeah.
So, I you have to give people time. He's been in for what, 4 months now.
Oh,
It's
4 months. Yeah.
there's too much. It's too big of a city. There's too many things going on. Too many factions. New York City is a planet. It's what I call
Yes,
it, the
it
planet.
is. Yeah.
So there's a lot of things going on. So we'll see. But like I said, I'm still,
Yeah.
I'm in the middle, and I
What
wanted to
about if you
be
look at
more.
his rap video? Okay,
No,
now you
his
just
rap
watch.
video. No, this guy.
Oh.
Forget it. He needs to stick to, what they say. They say, like, oh, stick to sports. Stick to politics, or stick to being a
Yeah.
mayor.
Mm,
Is it,
mm,
it's okay. He tried. He tried.
Yeah.
mm.
It's all
A
right.
lot of dudes in New York
Give him
pride.
an E for
Yeah.
evidently not good enough. But
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah. Cause you got something on that?
Well, I don't live in New York, so but based off his approval ratings, which I believe are about 26 to 28% by New
Yeah.
Yorkers, not a lot of people like him there. I think it's brave to bring in new ideologies, new thoughts, new ways of um, doing things. But I think you have to do it gradually, you know, and when you project yourself to be um, ethically um, standing on solid ground, so to speak, and you have things coming up um, in your administration, that could be problematic as well. But that's politics, Um, so yeah, that's all I'll say about it because I do not live in that city, and
Yeah.
I wish him well because if it works, other groups of people around the republic will say, hey, they're doing some great things in New York, and maybe in the future, government will be more decentralized, right? You have different states implementing new ways of doing things, and other states looking and seeing the example and say, "Oh, hey, let's implement that here, you guys." And instead of the heavy hands of the federal government coming down and doing X, Y, and Z. So I wish him luck. Um, but again, only 28% of New
Hmm.
Yorkers.
Yeah, I don't like those polls. I kind of, I'm like,
Okay.
but at the same time, it's, like I said, it's way too early, like either way. But I agree with you. Like, see how some of these things work. And as far as like, yeah, he has some somewhat radical ideas, but most of it is like anti-austerity. And we've been living under austerity, kind of the Reaganomics model and cities neoliberal model, and it hasn't worked. It's been a failure.
Mm.
It's been great for the ultra wealthy, but for the middle class and working class, it hasn't been particularly well. So I'm not saying that all of his ideas will work, but they are different ideas for the most part, or different approaches to how to govern than we have done, which has been like the Reaganomic austerity, or kind of like weird funneling through NGOs and things like that. And I think that's somewhat problematic because he kind of leans on that, as opposed to like getting to the root of the problem. He kind of deal with like these like highly, academic middle people who have less connection with the communities of which they're supposed to be working with than they ought to. And the money should probably go directly to these places, connected, as opposed to a high six-figure middle person and raising funds for other rich people to make themselves feel better.
Mm.
So I think some of the approaches that he's still kind of stuck on that, which is kind of a reactionary model to the austerity and neoliberalism. And if he were to move away from that, I'd be a lot more supportive of that. But that's one of the things that I think is a problem also in our society. And I agree with you, like, you know, local, our politics should be local, and that's the best strength. That's the best way for us to democratize us better. Um, and But New York City is tough, man. It's a different place. It has so many different, it's the most diverse place in the country, if not the world. So you're dealing with all different types of demographics and all different types of factions that many other cities have maybe a smaller model of that, but not quite at the scale. But look, if he can have some success again, other places would be smart to take a look at what does work and then scrap the things that don't work. That's smart politics, but we are kind of living in idiocracy right now. So
Yeah.
Yeah,
True story.
I
Yeah.
look at Eric Adams like Run DMC and Eric B. and Rakim, and I look at Mondami like De La Soul and Tribe Called Quest. Yeah,
ah,
Wow.
that's an
yeah,
interesting one.
yeah,
Mm.
yeah,
Except
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Eric
yeah, yeah.
Adams, I don't know. Eric Adams was kind of, oh man, I don't want to say
Yeah,
it. He
he
kind of ran the city like Bambaataa, but oof,
yeah,
that's
he could have
Damn.
he could have been one of
oh,
Run DMC's bodyguards. But
oh.
hey,
Damn.
check us out, man. We said Ben Bottle, so that means the show is over. We are exiting the fourth quarter, and exiting the fourth quarter, I just want to say because it hit me because this is a gentleman who was my age, same age. I was a fan of his, and we played for the Angels. He was an excellent
Oh
ball
yeah.
player. I'm talking about like five tooler, steal a base. I mean, just like a good ball player, man, and to find out that Garrett Anderson passed away, dude, that just like shitted on my day when I saw that again. Because first of all, you're like, well, wait a minute, Garrett, he's a hell of an athlete. I just played 5 games of Madden. How come he's alive? He's dead, and I'm alive. So it's just a
Mm.
lot of shit that just like, damn, man.
Yeah. That flew
Garrett,
out. I saw there's a Garrett Anderson. I said like whatever
yeah,
in
look at his age,
2026. I
like,
was like, I
yeah,
forgot about him, but I was like, he was a hell of a ball player, man. He was a big part
yeah,
of their World Series
yeah,
run, man. I remember, yeah, he was a great ball player, man. Like
yeah.
maybe not
So.
quite Hall of Fame, but damn near
No,
close.
good
And
ball person, like a
yeah,
good guy. So
yeah,
always
exactly.
it just always brings you back to this, man. If you haven't got to check out, get your check up this year. If you got some shit hurting, go get the shit checked out. Don't wait, don't wait, don't wait, don't wait. Go get the shit checked out because waiting could be the worst thing you could do. So that's what I got for y'all motherfuckers. Cuz of what you got, man.
Yeah, just kind of a continuation of what you're saying. Stay hydrated, right?
Ooh,
Um, yeah, this is the second time that I've gotten sick this year, and 10 years prior, I don't believe I gotten sick once. And so, between the food, what's in the air, which you're being fed through your television or through these devices, just be mindful. Everything in moderation, I'll say. Yeah.
yeah. Ari, I want to
Yeah,
thank you
man.
for your time today,
Thank
man.
you.
this fucking great episode. You know what I mean? Hey, look, I'm looking at the time. You're looking at the time now, but but yeah,
Yeah.
it's great. I mean, again, man, whenever I get this shit rolling with the prize pick sponsorship, and we're all making six figures doing this shit like everybody says we're doing in podcasting, man, it's gonna be great, man. Matter of fact, we're flying. The studio's gonna be in Times Square, so you can just come to the studio. And we're gonna fly Tahir in private jet every week. But yeah,
It's good to
when
have
we
aspirations, man.
yeah, when
I
we
don't
get
know
that
about Times Square though.
hey, what do we call that, cuz? What do we call that? What kind of marketing is that? That's when you aspirational marketing.
Oh yeah.
All right, that's the new term.
It sounds like more
Yeah,
like
when you're fronting, talking about
multi-level marketing. That sounds like that.
no doubt, man. But hey, man, please say your socials and all that so people can't get at you because you are an active dude, man. So we want people to be able to yell at you on Twitter and all that stuff, man.
Yeah, at Twitter at Ari Russell at ARIRUSSELL. And yeah, same as my Instagram. Though my Instagram is at Ari.Russell. So
No doubt.
that's it, you know. Facebook, well, I filter that one. But
Yeah,
Twitter
yeah,
and that, and then TikTok. I'm on TikTok a little bit too.
yeah.
I think it's about the same thing.
Yeah.
What I'm at. Yeah. It's at Ari.Russell S. Is that what it says? Yeah. I don't know why it's that, but
Yeah, speaking of Facebook, if you're at the draft in Pittsburgh, you need somewhere to eat. I promise you, go to Facebook because they are selling plates, they're cooking ribs, they're cooking pork chop sandwiches all around Pittsburgh. So you should have no trouble eating in the city of Pittsburgh. You should have no problem with valet. Everybody is hustling, and that's a good thing to
no
see.
problem with valet.
Oh, bro, check it out, man. Everybody check it out. If I was in Pittsburgh right now, I'd be walking up the cars in traffic. Hey, man, look, give me $150, dude. You gotta walk. I'll park your car and I'll be ready. Yeah. I'll be running valet
Yeah.
service too.
Bye.
Yeah. But yeah, everybody's hustling. A lot of businesses are getting exposure. So
Good.
I saw my
Good.
man Yamez on Fifth Avenue DJing in the middle of the street. So yeah, it's just a good thing, man. I just hope everybody has a safe draft. Not just a draft, but draft weekend as well. And with that being said, I'm Jay Sands. That's Ari. That's Tahir Jahi. This is Sands on Sports. And we out here, y'all.